city called Akure, there lived two influential and wealthy families, the family of Mbofo and the family of Ndubisi. Both families were titans in their industries. The Mbofos dominated real estate, while the Ndubisis were giants in the oil and gas sector. The Mbofos had twin daughters named Njideka and Neche, identical in appearance, hard to differentiate. Njideka had gone to the States to study but recently just returned back home, while Neche remained with her parents and refused to move abroad for her studies because she hated traveling. Dindubisis, on the other hand, has only one child named Afam, raised with the weight of his family expectations. He was intelligent and driven, but carried a guarded demeanor. His parents often spoke of his potential and their desire to see him take over the family empire. The Mbofos and the Ndubisis had always have good relationship as business partners. One day, Adure, Njideka and Neche's mother, called them to the sitting room as she said to them, sipping her wine, "Your father and I has decided that one of you will marry Afam, the only son of the Ndubisis," she said, looking at her twin daughters. "Mama, as for me, I am not interested in any rubbish arranged marriage. I must choose my husband myself and marry who I want. So count me out. I won't marry Afam." Neche, the youngest, replied, frowning her face. "Come on, will you shut that your dirty mouth? Pigeon without feathers. You did not even allow me to finish talking. You're already saying rubbish and blabbing that your dirty mouth. Look, Afam is a very good man and every woman's dream. He's very calm and perfect. So you people should be happy that we are soon going to be in-laws with them. Mama, just say it out. This is about business. You want to use one of your daughters for business just because you and Papa wants to keep having business deals with them," Neche replied, frowning. "And so, if it's about business, and then what happened?" Adure asked, fuming. "Mama, calm down. Don't mind Neche. I have always had a crush on Afam. I'll marry him," Ndeka replied, looking at her mom and sister. This is my real daughter. I know you will never disappoint me or put me to shame. Don't mind this your stupid sister Neche. Evil child. You see you I will shave off your hairs one day. Those wings you are growing, I will make sure I use hot water to pull them out one day," Adure replied. "Me, nobody can force me to do what I don't want to do," Neche replied, standing up from her seat as her mother gave her a stink eye. That week, Afam's parents also told him about the intentions of planning a marriage between him and Njideka, and Afam accepted without argument. The following day, Afam and Njideka had dinner in one of the most fancy and beautiful restaurants in Akure, as Afam rented the whole restaurant for the day. Njideka was so happy to see Afam and speak to him one-on-one because she had traveled to the States when they were teenagers and has never seen him ever since then. And Afam, on the other hand, also traveled to South Korea to study few years after Njideka left. "Afam," Njideka called his name, smiling. Afam responded coldly, his eyes still placed on his laptop, without even looking at Njideka. "We came here for dinner, but you're working," Njideka asked, sounding a bit angry. "Madam, you are distracting me here. Can't you see I am working? I rented out this whole place to work peacefully. I did not pay for this place for you to disturb me. You can choose our wedding venue and color of the day," he replied rudely, still pressing his laptop. Njideka smiled as she looked at him. "But Afam, don't we need to, get to know each other more?" Njideka asked. "We already know each other right from when we were young. So there's nothing else to talk about," Afam said as he urged her to shut up and stop disturbing his work. The both of them had dinner in silence and then returned back home. Njideka returned back home that night, confused, as she sat on her bed lost in thoughts. Why did Afam acted like this today? He was so rude to me, someone I haven't seen in years. Maybe he was just exhausted and tired because of work. But he actually looked cute with the anger in his face. Wow, he has changed so much and now looks more handsome. Njideka said to herself, smiling. Let me just give him time. I believe if we get married, we are going to bond well. Ah, God, I just pray I'm not making the wrong decision, no. But anyways, since I love him right from childhood, I don't think it's going to be a problem, Njideka said to herself, nodding her head. The following month, Njideka and Afam's wedding were fixed. The wedding was a grand affair, the kind Akuri had not seen in years. The both spared no expense, ensuring the ceremony was a display of elegance and tradition. Guests from across the country filled the church, dressed in the finest attire. The ceremony was a happy one for Njideka. Afam was polite but distant and never smiled throughout that day. After their wedding, they both traveled to Switzerland for their honeymoon in one of their secluded family house. Immediately they got there, Afam picked up his phone and called his parents and in-laws, telling them that him and Njideka won't be needing disturbance as he wanted the both of them to have a good time together for 14 days without phone calls. Njideka was kind of worried as Afam collected her phones and gadgets, but she politely gave them to him, smiling like a confused Agama lizard, as she thought it was best to stay off their phones so they could bond well. Now listen very carefully, Njideka. I want you to sleep in the next room, and on no account will you enter my room without permission or knocking. If you see me in the morning, do not talk to me. Just pass and pretend like I am not in this house with you, Afam said, looking at Njideka, who was very confused. Afam, we are married and we came here for honeymoon. Are we not supposed to be sleeping in the same room and bonding together as newly married couples? Njideka asked, still looking confused. I dare you to speak one more time again, and you will see what I'll do to you. Njideka, remain on your lane, and let me remain on mine. Do not step on my tail. I repeat, do not step on my tail, Afam said angrily as he entered the room opposite that of Njideka, slamming the door. Okay, what just happened right now? Njideka asked herself as she had cold shivers down her body. Why is he acting like a different person? Or is he having jet lag? Anyways, let me give him space. Maybe he's just tired from the wedding stress and all that, she said to herself, smiling. The next morning, very early, Njideka woke up and prepared a nice dish. As the good new wife she was, shaking her little waist, carrying them to Afam's room, ignoring his warnings. She knocked on the door, but there was no response, as Afam ignored her and refused to open the door. After she knocked for like 1 minute, she began to panic, thinking something bad had happened to her husband. Afam, open the door, are you okay? Please open the door if you can hear me, she said, still knocking. Afam then stood up from his bed, looking very angry, as he opened the door, holding an insecticide spray, as he sprayed it directly to Njideka's face, emptying the whole can on her face and eyes, not minding if she would go blind, ignoring her scream and cries. As if that was not enough, he dragged her by her hair, pulling her to the bathroom, opened the shower, turning on the water heater, making sure the water was very hot, as he began to pour it all over Njideka, who was screaming for help, begging for mercy. Afam, what did I do wrong? Please stop this, you will kill me, she said, crying. But Afam ignored her and continued to pour the hot water on her until he was satisfied. As he then finally stopped, looking at Njideka with so much hatred, as he then said to her, next time, ignore my orders and you will see what I'll do to you. This is just a baby punishment. Rubbish, he said, leaving Njideka, who was on the floor crying, as she quickly turned on the cold water so her skin doesn't get burnt. My God, what nonsense is this? Did I come here to suffer and enjoy? No way, I can't take this. I am going back home, she said to herself as she stood up crying, going to her room packing her things. But as she carried her handbag, she noticed that her international passport was not in it. She ransacked her handbag and luggage but couldn't find it. "Don't tell me that beast took my passport," she said to herself, crying. As she angrily went to Afam's room, "Afam, give me my passport and my phones this minute. I am going back home," she said, looking at Afam, who burst into laughter as he said to her, "You go nowhere. We are not done yet with our honeymoon. We still have 13 days left." Afam said, sounding like a possessed demon. "You must be unserious. Give me my passport," Njideka said, shaking with fear. But as she was still talking, Afam landed hot slaps on her face as he pushed her away, dragging her outside the building and locked the door. Njideka pleaded for mercy, begging Afam to open the door, but he refused. "Afam, please, open the door, it's late. I can't sleep here and it's very cold." But Afam ignored her as he refused to open the door. Njideka slept outside that day in the cold. The next morning, Afam opened the door and went straight to where Njideka was lying on the floor. As he dragged her up and began to beat her. After beating her, he pushed her into the house and said to her, "Oh, you think I am done with you? Well, no, this is just the beginning. Afam, please, whatever I did to you, please forgive me. I won't do it again," Njideka said, crying, pleading for mercy. But Afam ignored her as he tied her up in a chair, brought out a clipper and began to shave her hair. "Afam, what did I do wrong? Please stop," Njideka pleaded. "Don't worry, very soon you will know what you did," he said as he left Njideka tied to the chair. The remaining days was hell for Njideka, as she could not even run for her life or make a phone call to her family. She peed on her seat and also pulled on her body. Every day was torture for her, as Afam would always come to the room where he tied her up to beat her. "Afam, please, what did I do to deserve this? Is it a crime that I married my childhood crush? Afam, you were my first love. I married you because I love you. So why all this torture?" Njideka asked, crying. "Will you shut up, you liar? I was never your first love. I want you to feel every pain I felt while being bullied in school years back. Njideka, you are evil. You are a bystander watching me get bullied without doing anything, even when I reported to school authority and my bullies denied the accusation. You refused to speak up for me," Afam said, sounding very angry. "Wait, hold on," Njideka said. Immediately Afam called her a bystander to bully. "Afam, how sure are you I am the one? Remember, I traveled to the States to complete my studies. We never went to the same school. So what are you talking about? Shut up, you liar and pretender. When we were teenagers, Njideka, you stood by and watched while I was being humiliated by bullies. You even laughed at me," Afam said with his voice filled with bitterness. "I wasn't there. That wasn't me. Afam, it was my sister Neche. She went to the same school with you, not me," Njideka said, crying. "Don't you even try blame your twin. You think I can't tell you two apart? You have a birthmark behind your neck, while your sister doesn't. I can never forget. I clearly remarked it before I also traveled to the States. So don't you dare deny it. Even now, you still have the birthmark behind your neck," Afam replied angrily, looking at Njideka, who was confused and still crying. "Afam, it's not me, it's Neche. She has a birthmark behind her neck and hated it so much. She surgically removed her birthmark years ago. I loved the way it looked, so I got a tattoo the exact way it is. Afam, I swear, I never went to the same school with you," she said, crying. "You can check my neck and see for yourself. It's a tattoo and not a birthmark." Afam stood up and went close to Njideka as he looked behind her neck and realized it was a tattoo and not a birthmark. As he then whispered within himself, "Ah, my God, I have married the wrong person." He then untied Njideka as he then said to her, I thought you were Neche, and I never knew her name back then because we were in different classes. You never cared to know Afam, and you never gave me a chance. You let your anger blind you, Njideka said, crying. I'm sorry. It's just that I have carried this pain for so long. I didn't realize I was punishing the wrong person. Look, you see this scar on my neck? I got it from bullies, just because I could not fight back then. Afam said, looking at Njideka, who ignored him as she cleaned her tears, stood up, and went to the bathroom to clean herself up. When she was done, she came to the sitting room where Afam was sitting, as she sat close to him and said, So Afam, you tortured me for 13 days, thinking I was Neche. So you married me because of revenge. Why don't you look for your bullies and take your revenge? Why must it be a bystander that will take all the blame? Okay, let's assume I was Neche and you married the correct person. For how long do you want to torture her and take your revenge? Njideka asked with so much pain in her voice. Afam ignored Njideka as he refused to answer that question in particular. Njideka, I am sorry. I admit I was wrong. Please forgive me. I promise I am letting everything go. I have forgiven your sister. It's just that I have been holding this grudge against her for years. But I just realized that I am causing myself more harm than good. Please, let's just forget about what happened here and never mention it to anyone. Afam pleaded. Njideka, who was in love with Afam, felt pity for him as she forgave him and said to him, It's okay, I believe you. She smiled, looking at him with love. As they both made a joint decision to seek counseling to address their individual traumas and build a healthy foundation. Hi besties! We've come to the end of this story. Hope you enjoyed it and learned something from it. I would like to ask a question and I really want to know your response. Have you ever been a victim of bully or have you ever been a bystander? Let me know in the comment section how you handled everything. And I would also like to know your thoughts about this story. Do you think Njideka should still remain with Afam or leave the marriage? Let me know your answer in the comment section. Please, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do it. It's free. And remember to like my videos and comment too. Thank you so much for watching to the end. I'll see you in my next story. Bye. And before I forget, I want to say thank you so much to my amazing 3,000 subscribers. You all are the best. Like, I appreciate. Thank you so much for taking out time to watch my videos, like my videos, and also sharing my videos. Thank you so much. I really appreciate. Bye.